You're watching the Smartcage podcast with Todd Atkins and Andrew Benjamin of the We Are Rising podcast, the #1 PFL podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and be on the lookout for future episodes.
All right, this is Todd Atkins. I'm back with Andrew Benjamin, Smartcage podcast, fastest rising PFL podcast there is. And we are going to go ahead and go through the two brackets of the most recent show, which was Friday. And it was women's flyweight, men's bantamweight, men's lightweight. So we'll kind of go through these. We're just going to... For people who are watching this for the first time, we kind of just stick to the actual tournament matches because that's kind of what we're following through the, I would say, through the schedule is the tournaments. So before we start, I'll let Andrew kind of tell you who he is for anyone who hasn't seen him.
Yeah, hi, my name is Andrew. My main gig is doing the We Are Rising podcast, which is a podcast that covers Rising, JMA, stuff that happens in Japan. I also write for MMA Soccer, covering pro wrestling, combat sports, and stuff. And we're here because PFL has been quite fire lately. It's been an epic first year, win or go home, tournament, style. PFL is done. No more points, no more seeding. Just you win, you move on. You lose. You may not go home. Actually, you may be on the prelims or something like that, but you won't advance in the tournament. So there's that.
All right, so I think we'll just jump into it and kind of go from how they started on the show itself. So we had the first match I think that they have that was tournament was the Shakalova Bishop match, which was in the women's flyweight tournament. And what did you think? I mean, I remember when we were talking about, we thought maybe Shakalova could advance, but Bishop did really well. I would say
Yeah.
it was
I think
the dominant the fighter of the two.
Yeah, Shakalova was also a late replacement, I believe, or she replaced Talia Santos, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would think on paper Shakalova would maybe be the favorite. But no, Jenna Bishop, I would say upset the more well-rounded MMA fighter, Shakalova. I mean, Jenna Bishop is known for, she is a jiu-jitsu, well, I believe she's a black belt, I believe. And she's mostly a jiu-jitsu based fighter, and usually, jiu-jitsu based fighters can either be really successful or not. But yeah, the only people that Bishop has lost to are Talia Santos and Dakota Dicheva, but she has beaten everybody else that she has faced.
Yeah, beautiful back take in this fight.
Yeah.
Kind of led to the end.
So yeah, it's yeah, I would definitely say quite a surprise. Quite a surprise. I think, I think the dream match, the PFL was hoping was Talia Santos versus Liz Carmouche. What is it? I believe Liz Carmouche is from 10th Planet or trains jiu-jitsu out of 10th Planet. So let's see how I think obviously Liz Carmouche has a striking advantage by many, many, many facets. But hey, she beat Shakalova. There could be another upset. Who knows?
And physical power advantage.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
And we're going to talk about that in this next match or next fight, which is Carmouche and Alona Donna. And it kind of looked like two different size fighters in there, really.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I do think that the judges were okay. I don't know where they got 30-27 from. When I hear 30-27, that tells me that the loser did absolutely nothing. Listen, Dana had some good. She had some good moments. I would say it's a 30-28. You can maybe say 29-28 if you wanted to, but I mean, 30-27, I think, was a little bit absurd. But yeah, listen, Liz Carmouche, he's just gotten better as the years have gone on. Yeah, the only person she's lost to, most since leaving Bellator, or yeah, since leaving UFC was Talia Santos at the on the tournament, last year's tournament.
Yeah, striking, takedowns, ground, power,
Yeah,
strength,
yeah,
strength off the charts. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, it is, and here's the other thing. She was the first. A lot of people don't know this, or don't remember this, or weren't MMA fans. She was the first person to give Ronda Rousey like problems during their. I remember when Ronda Rousey was thought to be the unstoppable monster. Liz Carmouche actually took Rousey's back for like a good amount of time. I mean, Rousey won in the end, but other than Misha Tate, was probably Rousey's toughest opponent at that time. And also one of the first people, the first person to ever beat Shevchenko as well.
yeah.
So, some people find their rhythm much later in life. So so it's funny just how MMA is. You have some fighters. We'll talk about the main events. As they get old, they're past their athletic prime by like 27, 28, 29, 30. And then you have other people who just I don't know. I don't know what. I wish we could study the science behind how some people get better as they get older versus how some people just decline as they get older. I wonder if there's a common denominator. Hopefully a natural common denominator. I'll put it that way.
Now, when we look at Bishop Carmouche, like to me, I think it's going to be kind of the same puzzle for the first two people. How can you deal with Carmouche's strength,
Yeah.
physical strength, and power as well?
Yeah.
And I think that's where Bishop. It's going to be hard because her strength is on the ground. But when you're matching up with someone who's that strong, who is good on the ground too, because Carmouche is very seasoned, I think it's going to be a difficult match in that regard for Bishop.
Yeah, even though Bishop, finished Shakalova, I gotta still go with Carmouche, barring any sort of, unless I see any video, some PFL, video, some like, oh, her striking looks good. Yep. As far as I'm concerned, she's still just a jiu-jitsu fighter who's an MMA fighter. So, but Carmouche is just so good everywhere. So I'm favoring Carmouche at this point.
Okay, and then the next fight on the card that in order was Wetzel versus Gutierrez. This is an interesting fight because Wetzel kept getting the takedown, getting top. Gutierrez has really good ground skill, but because he was kind of squashed against the fence, the position he was in is really difficult for him to mount the offense. He did well defensively, but Wetzel was able to put him in that position over and over for the 3 rounds.
Kind of did the same thing with the other previous guy. I apologize for forgetting his name right now. The guy he missed weight against. He kind of did the same thing. But that opponent was a lot tougher than him. I mean, yeah, he's kind of, I'll say that right now, out of all the, I would say out of all the divisions, the bantamweight one is maybe the one that I'm like, hasn't looked, it's looked the least interesting. That's the one that's the one fight I'm like, that can go. Maybe it'll be an exciting fight, but I feel like Wetzel he hasn't wowed me off the paper, off my chair. I definitely think that the other bracket bantamweight fight was also kind of an upset as well. So we'll have to wait. We'll just wait and see. I wait with bated breath. I'll say.
Yeah, you mentioned the other fight. Alves looked great against Hadley. Really beat him up, and he showed real good striking, good athleticism.
Oh yeah. Um, Definitely, I would probably also say another upset as well. I definitely feel like Jake Hadley was kind of figured to be the favorite. He's from UFC, former UFC. Um, Came in, with that big submission win. In when he debuted, PFL tournament this year. But yeah, oh no, Alves just made mincemeat of his face. Um, So yeah, the final could be very much like Curry versus Logan. A guy who's a very hard power striker versus a guy who's going to kind of just hold. I can't say hold you against the cage, but kind of grapple with the cage. Use the cage as an offensive weapon against you. We might kind of see that fight go exactly the same way that Curry Logan fight.
You might want to move to your microphone a little bit. It's kind of
Oh,
muffled.
sorry.
Yeah.
But now.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah. And yeah, I think that fight it could be interesting because I think Alves he might be a little bit better defending the takedown than the first two guys he fought. One thing I wonder with Hadley was when it became clear you weren't going to win in the stand up, he never really looked like he wanted to try and change, and do anything else, which was kind of.
Yeah, maybe he's one of those guys, when he has a game plan, they just kind of stick to it. Everybody needs a coach like Leon Edwards. Kind of need a coach like that to kind of let you know, hey, this is not working. Got to do something to change up. Yeah, that's what happened. Some people just train like that, man. They just, they go in there with a game plan and it's do or die with that game plan.
Yeah, I think Alves Wetzel could be interesting. If Alves can defend the takedown a little bit, then it would kind of be a. But if Wetzel can get him down, with consistency like the first two guys, it might go the same.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at Wetzel's only two losses. I'm curious. I want to see who they are against. One's against Rafael do Nascimento, and he got knocked out. And the other one's Joseph Richardson. I don't know, not too familiar with either of these people, but he has yeah, he's beaten. You know what the fight? He's beaten a lot of guys with the last name Ov in their name. Funnily enough, so yeah, this guy has figured out the caucus puzzle. He's beaten two of those guys so far, and he's yeah. I would probably right now put him as a favorite though, Wetzel. So far, to win. But if Alves does what he did against Hadley, listen, what was it? What is it that I forgot who said it, but a black belt becomes a brown belt when you punch him in the face, and then when you punch him again, he becomes a pro belt. You know, that could happen. With Wetzel.
Yeah.
The more he gets punched in the face, the more reckless, the more his takedowns become shoddy, and yeah, that game plan may not work.
Now and then, I think on the card, the next fight, next tournament fight was Alfie Davis and Brent Primus. This one I thought was really close until I think it could have gone to either guy really. Davis did do some more flashy stuff, which I think helped him with the decision.
Yeah.
Because the fight was really close. Primus got on top for the majority of, I think it was the first and third rounds. Davis got up, but it was only for a brief, last, 30, 40 seconds. The rest of the time, Primus had been on top.
Yeah. So what I was told when I was preparing for my MMA fight is, if you lose most of the round, but you can mount a comeback within at least a minute left. So say you lose or clearly lost 2 minutes, but then you have, it's like 1 minute and then you do a miraculous comeback. Likely, if you end the fight good, you can take back the round. And we've seen that like historically in MMA fights. That happened a lot. We're like, oh, but that person won 2 minutes. But here's the thing, judges are human. They're gonna remember, like you said when we were talking off the before we recorded. This was fresh in your head. People remember 10 seconds before a fight more than what happened 4 minutes ago in a fight. So I definitely see your point there. But also, it's one of those fights that could have gone either way. I'm kind of a Primus fan. I've always been a Primus fan. He's always been an interesting fighter to me. I kind of thought maybe you could have said I think he won in the end, but I'm not opposed to Davis going. I mean, it, it's definitely. I'll say I think from a stylistic standpoint, also because it's not a rematch, I'm kind of there's a little bit more intrigue with the Davis Godzi fights. So there's at least that. It's a fresh match.
Right.
And, listen, I won't sit here and tell you I think that Davis doesn't have a chance, but, let's just say he's going to have his work cut out for him when he faces Godzi.
Right, and let's get to that. So we had Godzi versus Kevin Lee. There wasn't much to it. Lee got stunned pretty quickly and finished pretty soon after that.
Yeah,
Kind of an
man,
easy victory.
man, it's, this guy is something else, man. This guy hasn't lost since 2020. This guy hasn't lost since the pandemic. That's how much of a streak this guy's been on. And he's got, again, one of those fighters who's just gotten better with age. What do you so man let me ask you this side. There was some what do you think about the criticism that did you see that there are some people saying that Kevin Lee was set up? Did you see some of that?
I think it was John Jones who mentioned it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Ali might have put him in, but it's hard for me to say that because Kevin Lee going in said, best I've ever been. Physically, I feel great. Da 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 da. It's easy to say that after you lose real fast.
Yeah. Also, every fighter kind of says that. No fighter, very rare for a fighter to say, I feel like shit. I don't think I'm gonna do good.
But a lot of them say, I got set up, blah blah blah. After
Yeah.
they don't perform well.
Yeah.
Or you're trying to get me beat.
I'll be honest. Matchmaking wise, Kevin Lee was an incredible underdog. You know, this guy was supposed to have that whole GFL thing. Actually, here's the thing. In fairness, he actually won his last MMA fight back in September, so it's not like this guy came in with an incredible losing streak. I think the thing is that I think with Kevin Lee, you feel bad for a guy who had so much hype behind this guy when he was in UFC. This guy was like ear stamped or time stamped or whatever to be the next guy. This guy has, exciting fighter, explosive fighter, and then just a decline. Just was losing the guys that he shouldn't have lost against. Going to a decision with Diego Sanchez and Eagle FC, and kind of getting that shit end of the stick one contract UFC fights. That was clearly set up for him to lose. If you want to be honest. I'll say this, so like clearly Godzi did not want. You saw like if when he got punched, Kevin Lee kind of go for a takedown. Godzi was like having none of that. So that was perhaps we should have seen more of that from Kevin Lee from the fight. Just is that the most exciting way to win a fight? No, but it could have been the way that he could have won this fight. Quite honestly,
I think he would have had a hard time taking him down and trying to win.
Oh, I think so. I think so. Yeah, yeah. But I think he would have had an easier time taking him down. I guess not punch drunk cognizant than he would have than he had. Getting rocked like he did.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting seeing going to the finals. Of these various weights, and then kind of looking after whoever wins, looking to them fighting the champion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What do you think? So like, what do you think? Do you think that Davis has a chance against Godzi? Be honest.
I think he's a big underdog. You always have a chance to land something against anybody, and he does have some some decent stand up. So maybe he could land a flash, something.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, I think that he would lose. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's true of most guys who fight. Really, guys who can wrestle and be dominant in that area. You really
Yeah.
only have a chance to land something in between getting taken down.
Yeah. Oh no, you are that is 100% correct. That is
The window for you to win is about this big.
yeah,
The window
yeah,
for your opponent to win is about that big.
yeah. Do you want to do a preview of the did we preview the did we preview that for last time? The middleweight
No, we
and
just stuck to the tournament. Of
okay.
the fights we saw because kind of making it a little bit more compact.
Oh,
But
okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
the next fights will be the.
I'll say this, get Archie Colgan to be in the main event in the tournament next year. That guy looks so good against Barnaway. I thought Barnaby was going to run through him.
I'm gonna look at PFL 7 2025. That's gonna be June 27th.
Yep.
So it'll be next week.
Oh, is it this week?
20,
I think it's
no,
this week.
27th. It'll be
Oh,
June 27th.
okay.
So
Yeah, that's
that would
Friday.
be, yeah, Friday, you're right. And that will be, let's see, bracket. Does it have a bracket? Doesn't have a bracket. Usually they have a bracket on Wikipedia, but. So we got middleweight, light heavyweight. Davis versus Colley. Edwards versus Silveira. Sergio Pettis versus Rafael Stotts. Kind of a Bellator fight there. Rasta, is he still in or is he out?
No, Rossi, no, yeah, no, they're both in. Remember
Okay.
Rossi got those two finish. He finished Sai. Guillotine, I think it was.
Yeah.
No, it was Anaconda choke maybe or
Yeah.
Darce.
And then you got Shoeface versus Simeon Powell.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good card right there. All those
Yeah,
fights are interesting.
I'll be like the entire. If you look at the entire card, they have the heavyweights and the light heavyweight. Yeah, like you said, the light heavyweights. They loaded up that card. They have a lot of like previous names that they've had, like Paul Albertson, Viaggio Ali is making his return to a PFL. Rodrigo Nascimento and Ali Poplov as well. So yeah, they put a lot of names on the card. They put a lot of names on this Friday's card.
Yeah, and I think with the UFC kind of in a lull as far as the quality, this would be a perfect time for, any promotion to move in and try and provide something that's a little bit better, even matchups.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Across the card, make the card a little bit better.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree. Yeah.
So let people know what you're doing with the We Are Rising podcast and stuff.
Oh yeah. So, oops, sorry, something just dropped. Okay. Yep. Right now, we're gonna be soon previewing the upcoming. Oh shit. Sorry, you're dropping everything, and my headphones just broke. Sorry. We're gonna be previewing the fuck this. We're gonna be previewing the upcoming Super Rising card next month as well, because Rise's 10th anniversary. We're gonna be looking at 10 years of Rise, and we're gonna have a bunch of top fights, top moments, top finishes, as well. Hopefully, speaking to people connected with Rise and to say, hey, what's gonna happen in the next 10 years, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be happening sometime in the future, and please check it out.
And when is PFL Africa? I want to look at that again because I know.
Is
that's coming up too, isn't it?
That's the yes, the big champion show. That's July 19th actually.
Yeah, so that's coming up. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting too. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff on the horizon for PFL.
Yeah, by the way, which we can now finally watch on the app. By the way, they listened, so yeah, we can finally watch all the non ESPN plus ESPN shows through the app, I believe.
Yeah. So everyone that's watching these shows, check out PFL. We're one of the few shows that's covering this, and we appreciate you checking out these episodes. Make sure you check out Andrew at the We Are Rising podcast YouTube channel.
Yes.
And as always, until next time, we appreciate the support. Like, subscribe. Take care.
Thank you, everybody. Take care.